Have you ever liked something? I need to come up with an intro. There are things that are objectively good and then we also like them, which makes them both objectively good and subjectively good to us. Avatar: The Last Airbender is an objectively good series. Monsters, Inc. is one of the best animated movies of all time. Red Dead Redemption, both 1 and 2, are two of the greatest games ever made. No one can argue with that. Someone can tell you that, hey, I didn't really like Red Dead Redemption 2 because of its combat mechanics, but they can't really argue with you and say that it's a bad game. These types of stuff are usually the type of things that you see on those compilation videos. Can these things become kind of overrated when they become popular? Sure. Does that make them any less amazing? No. If you're one of the people who keeps arguing that Lion King isn't actually that good, get a life. When it's something that's objectively not good, it's honestly low-hanging fruit. At that point, like, anyone who doesn't like it or wants to make themselves feel superior for their taste will just completely obliterate the whole thing and you can't even defend it except for saying, well, it makes me feel good. There are different types of situations when this type of thing happens, when something is not good, but it's good. And one of the best examples of that I could think of was Life is Strange. Part 1, Life is Strange. I know that grown adult men love to dunk on Life is Strange in their 30-minute long video essays, and honestly, I like them. They're fun to watch. But I can't help but feel like people criticizing this game just miss 3 crucial points. 1, they aren't really the target audience. Of course you can enjoy it, but I doubt the creators were thinking to themselves, oh yeah, let's make this game in a way that the people pushing 30 will look at it and enjoy it. This is a coming-of-age story about 2 girls whose frontal lobe is basically non-existent because they just turned 18. A lot of people might not notice, 18-year-old girls are fucking delusional. When me and my friends were 18 years old, we had no concept of danger or consequences. We seriously thought we were invincible. You know, you're delusional one way or another. Either, oh yes, I could definitely assassinate this big dictator, or it's, yeah, I could definitely land Chris Hemsworth, only if I could, like, you know, run in the same circles as him. He would definitely fall in love with me, only if he had a 5-minute long conversation with me. 2, this game is a product of its time. Are you really gonna criticize a game from 2013 for having memes from 2013 in it?
The future needs excellence. The future's an asshole.
Dialogue is cringe.
Now you're totally stuck in the retro zone. Sad face.
Do you remember how people talked in 2013? I do agree that the dialogue is not the best, but it's far from how terrible people make it out to be. And 3, this game is made by 2 French dudes, and the setting is what they thought an American high school to be. Much like all of you, this isn't really about what an American high school actually is, it's about what an American high school represents. Or at least what it represented back in 2013. You know, a lot of times people love to bring out the fact that the time travel doesn't make any sense, or a lot of other things in the game doesn't make any sense. But you think the creators didn't know about the inconsistencies? They did. Even in their commentary they mentioned it. They said, we just hoped you could overlook it.
I think, to be perfectly honest, we don't have a good explanation for why she's going back to the art class, because we needed it
I've got one, but I will never tell you.
I don't think it's a mistake, and because we also needed to explain to the player so the player can learn how things are working, and it's quite hard to do. So we took this freedom to have Max go back to the art class, which, even if it's a bit contradictory with how her power works after that. We are using this to explore more of Max's personality.
The time traveling mechanics are not the point. Neither is any other mechanic, or the graphics, or even good writing for that matter. This extends to the prequel game as well. These games are not made to make sense per se, they're made to make you feel something. This game genuinely affected me. I can easily say that I would not have been the same person without Life is Strange. I have not moved on from Max and Chloe. I don't think if I can ever move on from those 2. It just affected me. I can tell you that it's terrible, but I can also tell you that it's fucking amazing. Watch White Light's videos on Life is Strange and Life is Strange Before the Storm. They're really good videos. And also give a listen to Daughter's album Music from Before the Storm. It's the soundtrack for the Life is Strange prequel game, and it's really good. With something like Life is Strange, you know its flaws, but you can just easily turn a blind eye to them, because it has something that you may not be able to point your finger at it, but it just makes it worth it. Despite all the flaws, you love it. And then there are other things that the exact same thing that makes you love it is what everybody hates about it. Part 2, AJR. I first discovered AJR back in 2017 when they released their album The Click. I loved that album. It quickly became one of my all-time favorites. I was listening to Turning Out on repeat. And then a couple years later when they released their second album, Neotheater, I also really loved that, but this time I made the non-fatal mistake of looking up for reviews of the album. And imagine my mild shock when I realized that most reviewers don't really like the album. I mean, granted, I didn't really watch any reviews on it. I just watched Fantano's video on it, and I just said, oh, wow, that's a lot of bullocks. What really surprised me wasn't the fact that the reviewers didn't like the album, it was the fact that whatever I liked about it was exactly what they hated about the music. And the same thing happened with their third album, OK Orchestra. Listen, that's my least favorite album of theirs, and even then there are some songs that I really, really love. And funnily enough, those are the exact songs that people hate the most out of the entire album. And listen, I don't care that they don't like this, it's just that at some points it genuinely feels like they're not getting the point on purpose. Like if you listen to Dear Winter and your first thought is,
why is he taking away his future wife's autonomy? But what if she already had another name in mind for her future child? Oh, what about that?
come on. I know you're not that fucking stupid. I know I said OK Orchestra is my least favorite album, but I feel the need to address some stuff. Do I think 3 O'Clock Things is a good song? No. Do I agree with this line? Yeah. I don't know if the reason is being kinda neurodivergent or being kinda demisexual, but I get it. I agree. And also, people getting weirded out over this line, I feel like those people are the same people who would say, oh, Tom and Jerry are always naked, but then when they go to beach, they're wearing swimwear. Why does SpongeBob have fires under the sea? It's water, it doesn't make any sense. Or people who criticize the bad guys and say the movie's universe is inconsistent because the main cast are the only animals in the entire movie, and henceforth it's a bad movie, or at least like it's not good and it doesn't deserve all the good ratings and reviews because it doesn't make any sense. Why are they the only animals? Like, this isn't the Lord of the Rings. The main point of the movie isn't to create an amazingly immersive universe for you to want to live in. It's to send a message about the characters and how they grow. Like, I wonder if the main cast being animals works as a way to first distinguish them while also communicating to us how alienated they feel towards society and how different they are from them, while also creating the opportunity for some great gags and jokes. Like, if there was a wolf in the background of this scene, people wouldn't be just reacting to the wolf, they would be reacting to all the wolves. This wouldn't be a personal struggle for them to learn that they can be more than this. It would be like a societal issue. They would be scared of those people as well. It would take away from the main focus of the scene. And if they weren't scared, then you would think, oh, but the people weren't scared of that wolf over there, but they're scared of this wolf, so why does he think that is such an impossible thing for him to change, while there's the literal example of it right there in front of his eyes, you know? There's a reason why they are the only people who are animals. And in the same way, the existence of these two lines in the song work as a way to show us that this person is making shit up out of their ass. I read a comment that said AJR is a passion project of a band kid, a chorus kid, and a theater kid that was fully pursued into adulthood, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Back when AJR released The Click, felt like they were their fandom's little secret. And you know, when you're a small band, people who don't like you just are not gonna care about you, they're just not gonna follow you, and people who like you or even love your music will follow you religiously. And that's kind of a nice thing. Like, you may not make as much money or have as much clout, but at least you don't have any haters.
When my haters, I don't got 'em, I'm not famous, no.
But then when you suddenly grow in popularity and become relevant, it just kind of invites people to kind of dunk on you. Like, you know, anybody who doesn't like you, you're just in their face all the time, and because of that they're kind of prompted to hate you. And so many people are just looking for an opportunity to act like their taste is so much superior than others because they hate this band, they hate AJR, and they hate pop culture, and they love listening to neo-banjo metal. Is that even a thing? And since they grew into popularity, especially with their third album, so many people have mocked me for my music taste and have told me to just listen to
Insert band name.
or just listen to that other song that is better. Here's the thing, I listen to
Insert band name.
and I listen to that other song. I don't like that more than this. I like this better. I get that that's a better song objectively, I get that it's higher quality, but sometimes I want my song about insecurities to just say, oh, I'm insecure, you know. I get that it's not deep, and I get that it doesn't have the best lyricism. It's definitely not gonna win the Song of the Year award, but I like it. It feels good to listen to it, you know? Side note, I just want to add that sometimes something is a fucking shipwreck and you can't stop looking at it, like Miraculous Ladybug. This show is so good, yet so bad. I love it, but I hate it. Like, nothing's ever made me want to write a fanfic more than this shit show. Part 3. Conclusion? I would rate Bolt higher than the majority of Disney's catalog because Bolt affected me more than most Disney movies, except for a few. I've cried more to Don't Throw Out My Legos than I have to
Better song.
Cause, you know, I could relate to it more, and I like the straight up lyric more, so there's that. Also, side note, I don't think if there's anyone who only likes objectively good things, if you're someone who only likes things that are good from an objective point of view, you're probably a boring art professor, I don't know. A piece of art doesn't need to be high quality or well made or deep to affect you. I honestly think a lot of times it just has to be at the right place at the right time. This also happens with books, but I don't see that many people talk about it. The amount of mockery I had to endure because I told my classmates that my favorite book series is Inkheart. Unfortunately, with things that are bad but are actually good, people feel like they have a free pass to just dunk on it as much as they want to make themselves feel better. And it's so much easier to accuse someone who likes these things of having shitty taste. But, you know, it's always a losing battle. Whether your favorite movie has a 6.5 IMDb rating or a 9.5, you're still gonna be mocked for it regardless at some point. You will either be called a weirdo or a normie. There's no winning in these situations. Something that I've realized is having pleasures feels much better than having guilty pleasures. So, enjoy your life. Amanda Palmer is great, but listening to her doesn't make you any more or less cool than the average Taylor Swift listener. Your personality does. Don't forget to like and subscribe.